Good evening, everybody. The Music Fan is back bringing smiles to the faces, knowledge to the people, and most importantly, music to the masses. And apologies for being late with this video. Recently, if it's not one thing, it's another with me. So on top of being really busy last week, I also got sick on Friday. I was very low energy, barely moved out of bed. Fortunately, I had to work Saturday, so I've been like on and off sick throughout the whole entire week. But I'm feeling much better now, and I'm ready to tackle 4 videos this week. That is the plan. So today, an Are You In? Tomorrow, a 5-minute theory, and then Saturday, Sunday, 2 Are You Ins. Actually, I also have changed up the lineup of the order of Are You Ins this week, only because I also want to spend a little bit more time with the Are You In I'm going to be dropping on Saturday. It's going to be a good one, I promise. But first, let's do a simpler one. Yes, I am back with an Are You In? And tonight we are taking a look at the newest of Monsters and Men's album entitled Fever Dream. No, this is not the band that I have reviewed 2 of their albums. We're not talking about the metalcore band. We are actually talking about the indie folk, chamber pop, folk pop band from Reykjavik, Iceland. I'm going to bastardize these names. I apologize, but I'm going to do my best. Members include Nana Bryndís Hilmarsdóttir on lead vocals, guitars, and piano, Ragnar Pálsson on lead vocals, guitars, melodica, and glockenspiel, Brynjar Leifsson on lead guitars, melodica, tambourine, and backing vocals, Christian Paul Christensen on bass guitars, egg shaker, backing vocals, and Arnar Rosenkrantz Hilmarsson on drums, percussion, melodica, glockenspiel, accordion, keyboard, piano, acoustic guitar, and backing vocals. If you are from Iceland and you are watching this, I apologize, and I hope I did a decent pronunciation on these names. Previous albums include My Head is an Animal in 2012 and Beneath the Skin in 2015. Now, this is a band that I have heard of in passing. I sang an a cappella version of one of their biggest hits, Little Talks, when I was back in college with Wicked Pitch, but I've also enjoyed a couple of their other singles, including Mountain Song. I find their style nice, though not necessarily any different from what indie rock was back in that time with Mumford & Sons and other similar sounding acoustic folky bands. However, once in a while I want to go into an album blindly and see what I find. Sometimes I find some good stuff like Manchester Orchestra with A Black Mile to the Surface, a CD that I had no expectations coming in. I was just looking for something to listen to and found it to be one of my favorite albums of that year. Maybe by going through this album I might find something pretty solid. And I did, honestly. However, this is also my warning about this particular album. If you are looking for what made a Monsters and Men popular with their brand of indie folk, this isn't there. This time around, the band decides to go with a more electronic sound, kind of like Churches. And though they don't necessarily stand out from amongst the crowd of other bands similar to that sound, they do a decent effort, and I do find a bunch of different influences in their sound. Lyrically, let's go over that real quick. Not really many standout lyric. I don't know if this is supposed to be a full-on narrative concept or not, but most of the lyrics are dealing with relationships, whether it's casual relationships and trying to see if you want to keep it casual or want to make it something a little bit more serious, like a Hey or Row, 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 or if it's trying to go back to simpler times after a relationship that kind of went a little, like Waiting for the Snow or Vulture, Vulture, or trying to break the conformities of a lot of relationships and just having fun, like Wild Roses, or even feeling like you're missing something without the person that you care about, like Stuck in Gravity or Soothsayer, or even breaking off relationships like Under a Dome. All these seem to be dealing with partners, with love, with the complications of love. So, not bad, just nothing really out of the ordinary. Musically, though, we do get some decent indie electric pop with some 80s tinges. Row, Row, Row is my favorite song on the album. It reminds me a lot of a Haim song, especially on the choruses, which are just absolutely gorgeous with the stacking of harmonies on there. Whenever Nana is singing, she sounds perfect for this style of music. She's very reminiscent of Churches or a little bit of Florence and the Machine or Haim on a lot of these songs, and it makes for some very beautiful songs. What I love about Row 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 is the building of the song, especially through the drums. So the drums at first are using rim shots, but then as you get to the second chorus, you get full-on drum kit, which is really, really nice. It makes for the highlight of this album. Alligator is a more standard electronic rock song, and I find it a lot of fun. I love the chorus melody, and I just love the energy on this song. However, I kind of have a problem with the way that Nana cuts some of her lyrics on the chorus, where she is trying to say fever dreaming, but she's breaking the note and then coming back in, but she's coming back on an H consonant. So she's going, fever dream hen. It feels a little bit weird. It kind of takes me away from the chorus, but still a phenomenal song. Some of the other highlights from her, Waiting for the Snow, feels a little bit like a cut from Florence and the Machine's last album with just this beautiful piano ballad. It does have a little bit tinges of what Bon Iver did with his last album, and it does get a little bit weird at times with the electrical takes, but I also do enjoy most of what is there, especially the harmonies on the chorus. Wild Roses doesn't really stand out as an arrangement or in terms of what this style is. It feels very dime a dozen, but I do enjoy the chorus. Nana, again, with some great energy on the chorus, and in the night I'm wild, just honestly beautiful. And there are even times where she comes on to a track that Ragnar is singing on and makes it a little bit better. That case being Sleepwalker. He's not bad on it, it just he doesn't have the same energy as what she brings. He's a little bit more understated, but once she comes on with this very rhythmic and staccato chorus, it's really fun and makes for a better song on the album. There is one that Ragnar does sing on that is actually very cool, which is Wars, which is very much an indie version of Get Lucky by Daft Punk. It follows a lot of what Daft Punk did with that song, minus the funky guitars, but it does still have a really heavy and slappy bass, and the chord progression sounds very similar. I like what Ragnar does a lot on the vocals. It's very bluesy, and then combining that with the chorus and the harmonies that he and Nana do are very solid. However, there are a few songs on here that do tend to stay formulaic to this electronic indie pop style. Vulture Vulture, kind of poppy. It does have a fun melody, and the chorus is strong as well, but it just doesn't necessarily stand out in comparison to a lot of what is coming out of this scene. It is one of the better songs on the album, though, just because of the melody and the chorus. Soothsayer has this Churches and Florence Machine vibe. I do like how the band plays with the timing of the measures, where the ideas are all 3 measures long, which adds a nice little length to there. The drums are also pretty solid and harken back to some 80s electronic pop, but the melody is honestly just alright, making the rest of the song kind of suffer for it. And then the last 3 songs, Hey, Stuck in Gravity, and Under a Dome, feature mostly Ragnar, and this is where some of my faults come in, where he is alright, but he's more fitted to me to that indie folk style more than this electronic pop style. His voice is very understated, it's very soft, so it doesn't necessarily work for these electronic vibes that need a little bit more energy. Hey is the better of them. It feels a little bit like a Bon Iver song from his last album. What makes it stand out a little bit more is when Nana comes in with her harmonies and with the bridge part, where it adds just a little bit more energy to it. Stuck in Gravity feels pretty bland compared to all the rest of the songs on this album. It's just really poppy and simplistic. It just doesn't stand out at all to me. And then Under a Dome is a nice little slow atmospheric arrangement, but the melody isn't interesting, and it is the longest song in the album. The speed of the melody kind of just saps all the energy, and then the compression-laden vocals at the end don't really work for me, making for a pretty lackluster song. But in general, I do enjoy what this album brought. It was a surprise, and I find a majority of the album pretty fun to listen to, even if some of them don't stray away from the conventions of the indie electric pop genre. It is still a fun ride. It's pretty short, it's pretty simple, and I would love to see where this band goes from here with this sound. For now, I'm going to say listen to the full album. Even with Stuck in Gravity being bland, even with Under a Dome not being the best, I think there's enough here to satisfy the needs of people who are into this scene, and you'll find some pretty great and catchy arrangements. Thank you so much for watching. That is my time. Let me know if you like or hate this album and the reasons why. Let me know other albums from 2019 you would like me to review. Share this with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel so I know that you enjoy what I'm doing and want to see me do more so I can make this channel bigger and better. So tomorrow I'm going to change up the order. I'm going to do a 5-minute theory tomorrow, and then I'll be back Saturday with a very interesting argument. But until then, this is Music Fan, and I'm signing off.